Welcome back, guys. So today I want to talk about a really special movie that Derek from Derek's Horror Corner kept recommending to me. And it's one of those movies where it's obviously a purposefully so bad it's good movie, and it's really, really awesome, called Thankskilling. Thankskilling, if you do not know, is about a killer turkey who just has like an axe and goes around and kills people. That's the plot of it. But the thing I want to dive into more about this movie is that there's so many hilarious things in this movie that are just so scattered throughout the movie that I'm going to kind of point out all of them that I enjoy. I really love the fact that it opened up with, in the 1600s, a pilgrim woman who is just topless for no reason, just is running through the woods, and then then the turkey just comes and kills her with an axe. But the turkey has kind of like a predator vision to him. I like throughout the movie he does this where he has a predator type vision where like it's a different color whenever he's watching said person he's trying to attack or chase. So I thought that was really great. And I thought that opening just really solidified what type of movie this was going to be. And obviously I knew it was going to be a movie like this, but I love that it's a movie that isn't unintentionally like that. It just is purposefully like that. So that's what made it way more funnier and way more, as opposed to being like a movie that's unintentionally hilarious. This one is purposefully trying to be that, and that's what made it really great. That's what I really enjoyed about it, is it tried to be so purposefully silly that it made it work, as opposed to being unintentionally silly. And it's very incredibly low budget too, but it works really well too, because I think they've got a great camera for it. Like the movie is in HD and it looks really good. Like, and the turkey, you don't see much of the turkey besides like the face, because it's kind of like probably a puppet on a stick or something. But it works fine. Like, I think that in terms of low budget movies like this actually has good production value for what it's trying to be. Like, obviously, like, it doesn't have much of a budget to it, but I thought that it did a very good job of being that, like, that type of budget. Like, it worked very well for this movie. And then you get introduced to all our characters, who are obviously cliches of characters in horror movies. And there's this hilarious scene with this guy named Johnny, one of the characters, where he was talking about how his dad, he never sees his dad anymore, and they never got along. And then they have this awful flashback, which is hilarious, because it cuts to a flashback of him talking about his dad, and you don't see the dad, you just see a football being thrown to him, and he just cheers and is happy, but you don't see the dad in the flashback, and it's a weird gold color flashback where like it's really melodramatic on purpose, but again, it really works. But it's got awful music playing while it shows the flashback of Johnny and his dad, who we don't see in the flashback. We see him later in the movie. We don't see him in this. And whenever I watched that moment, I was like, are we even going to see the dad? That cracked me up. And then we get a Nightmare on Elm Street 4 scenario where in that movie, it doesn't actually happen this way, but Freddy, like Freddy's grave in a dream, like gets peed on by a dog in that movie. But it's not really the way he comes back to life, but it made it look like that in that movie. But they do a similar thing in this one where the turkey comes back to life, question mark, because this dog pees on him. And then the dog immediately, like he pees on him, and then the turkey wakes up, and he's like, alright, I'm pissed. And then you just see, like, him attack the dog, and then you see intestines just fly across the screen, which is, again, really awesome. The turkey heals him immediately. And then we cut to this hilarious moment where this dad character, who's one of the officers of the town, or the sheriff of the town, and he's the father of one of the characters in the movie, and he's talking to his wife, and he's like, God damn, Sharon, that coffee tastes like shit. You take a dump in it? And then she just says, as a matter of fact, I did. And like it shows like the pot, and I guess there's a dump in it. And then she says, I want a divorce. And then he's like, what? Like, again, like, it was so funny because it's so right out of nowhere. And that guy who plays the sheriff was hilarious. Like, he's in the movie later, too, but he is awesome. He was one of my favorite performances in the movie, in terms of being so funny. And then we keep getting information with this group of characters in the movie, and one character, the nerdy character, talks about the backstory about the turkey and how it's cursed to where it kills all white people who desecrated the Indian grounds, or like it or something along those lines. Like I kind of blanked out on that because I was thinking, oh, it's just I don't know. It just didn't feel like something that was gonna matter in the movie. But they do the backstory with animation, and it's pretty cool. Honestly, like, it's a cool way of showing what the history of the turkey is, the killer turkey. And we get this awesome first scare where one of the characters is out in the woods because they're just at a campfire, and she goes by on her own. And I thought she was gonna die in this moment, but she doesn't. But there's this hilarious moment where she sees the turkey, and she starts screaming really loud and freaking out, and the turkey just says, "Shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch, or I'm gonna drink your blood like cranberry sauce, meanie." What? but again, that's great humor, great joke. Man, like all these one-liners give me in this movie. And then she comes back, and she said, there's a turkey and it's alive. It's trying to kill us, or it's a killer turkey. And they're like, oh, we don't believe you, whatever. And then they're just at the campfire, and a freaking bunny rabbit that's had its intestines pulled out is thrown into the fire. And you hear when it gets thrown, you hear an ee noise, like it's still alive. God. But man, it's just so silly. And then suddenly it cuts to this guy who's on the side of the street whenever the turkey, like the group drives away, and the turkey is on the road trying to find somebody to rob to drive away in. So the turkey finds this one guy who wants a blowjob, and the turkey goes up to him and he holds him at gunpoint and kills him and then drives away. But it's just so random, but it worked really well because it was just like, why does this guy want oral from a turkey? What? But speaking of the Johnny character, it's funny because he goes back to his house to talk to his dad because they haven't been in good relationship together. And there's a hilarious scene of him going home where the mother's there at the door, and she's like, "Go see your dad." And he's like, "Mom, you know me and Pops don't talk anymore after I became second starting quarterback." And then she's like, "Johnny, that was 2 weeks ago." And it's just a weird thing of saying, like, I thought it was longer than that they didn't have a good relationship, but it just was 2 weeks ago. What? And then, like, I love that scene, and I love how his family gets killed and, like, he gets killed, but it's really funny because the dad's head flies off, like Freddy vs. Jason, where, like, Johnny grabs the head and it kind of splatters everywhere. And then he gets killed. And then we get a great kill with the character Allie, who is the one who's the whore of the group. And she gets stuffed by the turkey because there's a guy having sex with her, and he kills the guy, the turkey does, and then the turkey gets up and starts having sex with Allie, and she doesn't even realize it. And he kills her, and while having sex with her, and says, "You just got stuffed, bitch." It's just so hilarious because it's just these jokes like are really landed for me in the movie. But then we get a great scene back with the dad cop again, or the dad sheriff, where he's just looking at looking at the mail, and he's like, bills. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but he just kept throwing all his mail and just saying bills. But the turkey, like he said, like he gets a letter, the sheriff, that says you won a contest, and he dresses up as a turkey, and then he finds the actual turkey who's the killer. And the turkey tells him that he's a friend of Christie's, and the dad just says, "Friend of Christie's? I didn't know that she had a midget for a buddy." And it's just, and I like how they play it so straight when he says that. But then the turkey kills the dad, the sheriff, and then they're trying to find a book. The group is trying to find a book on how to defeat the turkey because Christy thinks her dad would have this book of how to kill evil turkeys. And they go back to the dad's house, and the dad's already dead. So then they encounter the turkey with the dad's face, skin on his face. And Christy like leans down and says, "Hi, Daddy, how are you?" And like she falls for it immediately, like this turkey is her dad. And they ask him where the book is, and this is one of my favorite lines in the movie. She asks where the book is, and he says, "Oh, I don't know, honey, I don't know where it is." And then she just goes, "Oh, Dad, you and your rapidly fading memory." And they go and like, I don't know, like the Billy character gets killed with a hand-drawn turkey, because it's the interesting thing after this scene is where Billy gets killed, because he goes outside and he finds a cartoon turkey just floating there, like it's a bit of animation just sitting there, and he goes like this and eats the turkey, and then his stomach just blows out because the turkey for some reason can magically become that animated turkey, then go inside his stomach and then burst out of him, and then the turkey just says, "Gobble, gobble, motherfucker." And that effect on the turkey coming out of like the stomach of Billy like is actually really cool, and it actually, for a low budget, it actually was pretty good. Like I thought it was an actually cool moment in the movie. And the scene of the nerdy kid crying over Billy's dead body is awesome, because he says to his dead body, "Remember when you gave me my first ice cream cone by the sunset?" And then it just has them as friends just eating ice cream together, swinging on the swing set, just like playing Ring Around the Rosie, like holding hands, like dancing around. Like it is hilarious. Like I laughed out loud in that moment. But then they kill the turkey, but then of course he comes back because he gets into radioactive materials that are just sitting in the middle of this neighborhood, or in the woods, just say radioactive, and he gets into the radioactive materials, and and they eventually defeat him again, but then after that another family like just has a turkey at their dinner, and like the turkey starts moving while they're praying, and he just says like, "Do I smell a sequel? Yum." And then it ends, and it says "to be continued" in space. And I don't know if Thankskilling 3 did that, because Thankskilling 3 is the only sequel. And yeah, it's called Thankskilling 3 and not 2. I guess they just purposefully did that. But wow, all the jokes in this like really landed for me. Like I thought that this was obviously trying to be what it was, a really fun, dumb time. And I thought that the turkey had a lot of great one-liners. I thought that everybody involved was really funny. Like all these characters had funny charisma, and they all had great jokes. And I liked how it's all based on the suspension of disbelief of like all this stuff people take for granted in the movie. Like, for example, whenever Christy thinks her dad is the turkey, or like whenever the radioactive material is just sitting out there in a neighborhood or in the woods, just in the middle of nowhere. Like that humor works for me, because it's just, obviously it's not supposed to be real, but it cracks me up in how they play it so straight with all these characters. And I really liked all the people involved. They were all great, and the gore was pretty effective, even though it was low budget. Like I thought that they did a good job of blending what they had money-wise, budget-wise. I thought they did a good job of that. So this one was a really fun time, and I really enjoyed it. And I really do want to see Thankskilling 3. I'll watch that one next. But it'll probably be soon. I don't know when, but it probably will be soon, because Derek wants me to review it really bad, probably the next one. So tell me down below what you think of Thankskilling, and thank you guys so much for watching.